Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about The Flash, episode 310, titled Borrowing Problems from the Future, which premiered Tuesday, January 24th, 2017 on the CW. Guys, I hope you had a good new year, but let's get right into the video. So I'm going to do a little things differently. Hopefully it shortens it, but huge spoiler alert because of it. I really hope you're watching the episode before you come check out my video, because I'm going to avoid trying to summarize things, but just go straight right into things. But that's my warning for you. Also, 3 reminders I've always been mentioning beforehand. They're on the screen above, so just be a quick reminder for those. But I'm going to try to do this in 10 minutes. Let's see if I can do it, but let's start that clock right now. So tidbits or stuff that you should have taken notice of. So timeline-wise, it was stated that it's been 1 month since the Christmas episode, since 309. So it's roughly how long the hiatus has been for us. Huge episode reminder, though, I guess you could say, is the fact that the Flash team was trying to change the future by changing what they do in the present day. So kind of like the whole domino effect thing. But the villain for the episode was Jared Morillo, a.k.a. Plunder. So he's a robber who has this fancy high-tech gun. And he was actually the robber who was kind of featured in like the future Flash that Barry had of 5 months previously. So that's kind of why we're trying to change the future, being the objective of the episode. So episode breakdown, though. The way I found it was ultimately the episode revolved around Barry telling Iris and the team about the future he sees where Savitar kills Iris. We find out that it is May 23rd, 2017. Now that date is on a Tuesday, so it lines up with a possible date for the finale, or at least the episode before the finale, so that's a little rough. But when they go into the future, we do hear a few future headlines. Apparently Joe gets an award. We have the Star Labs Museum closing just after it kind of had like a test run opening in this episode. We hear Killer Frost is still at large, so that's a little trouble. We hear the city is still recovering from the gorilla attack, so there's that mentions so there's that kind of mention. We also see, or Cisco notices that HR is now seen on the roof with a gun aimed at Savitar. Barry comments that didn't happen the first time he went to the future. So that has them believing that the fact that Barry told the team about it somehow changed the events to get HR onto the roof. So that way they have proof in that fact in that they can change the future. It's not set in stone for Iris. So there's that. Last moment of the episode show a woman portaling through to an alleyway, and she holds a holographic diagram of HR. Looks like she could be a bounty hunter from the looks of it. So there's that. Moving on, though, most shocking moment of the episode. I have to say it's all the different headlines we got to see of the future. It was great spoilers for what could possibly happen. We could possibly see those coming to fruition, or they could be stuff that they tried to avoid, but it's just great to see all those possible problems that will happen in the future. So there's that. Moving on, though, top 3 favorite moments. I definitely have to say my favorite moment one of my favorite moments is the whole vibing to the future thing. It was great how it was done. It was great how both Barry and Cisco were able to vibe to the future, and then they also see Christmas Barry arriving and seeing Savitar killing Iris. And then just having the vibe versions of Barry and Cisco also able to communicate with the team back in the present day, and then just them finding the headlines, focusing on that portion, and then having HR write them all down as they tell them. And then also seeing the difference with HR being on the roof. So I really liked that little trip and how that was done. So it was definitely going to be confusing if they try to do that again, because then they might see those versions of themselves vibing, and then them seeing the Christmas Barry flashing forward, and so I already have a headache. Wow. Next favorite moment I have is between Caitlin and Julian. I really think something's going to build up between the two, if not a relationship, then a really good friendship, because it looks like they're trying to get an understanding between the two of them. Caitlin tries to convince him to join the Flash team, as well as to help her try to find a way to get rid of her powers, or at least suppress them better than what's happening, since the cuffs that Cisco created are kind of malfunctioning, or they're not doing the job at optimum level. So it's really interesting to see Caitlin and Julian in scenes together. That's pretty sure. And the last one I should probably say should have been my first, but it's just the whole ending segments. We got the whole opening of the museum the second time around, where Cisco had invited students to come see the museum as like a school trip, and having that bring excitement to the team, especially to HR, and having it be a better success than what the actual opening was where no one arrived. So that one was a good thing, just to see Cisco not only get the students there, but also to do all the little technical troubleshooting that needed to be done just to help HR succeed. So I really like that as well. Also, I like the whole little housewarming party that Team Flash had at Barry and Iris's new place. It's just great to see the atmosphere. It's great to see what a few people brought them, and just to see the whole dynamic between all the different people. And then also just to have Julian be accepted at Team Flash during this party, as well as to see Julian and Barry give Caitlin the new snowflake necklace to help dampen her powers. It's just, I really like that whole final scene. It was just great to see them all happy for a moment. So that was my favorite as well. But moving on to top 3 peeve moments. Once again, it's Wally West. He really bugs me, but what really bugged me about him this time was his attention, or not his attention, his reaction to when he got all the attention as Kid Flash. His reaction to finding out that he was being filmed during his first takedown is just like, oh, okay, I'm being filmed. It's like, let me continue this. It's like, hey guys, I'm Kid Flash, and I'm here to help in Central City, like all fired up and excited. It's like, yeah, you're a kid on that though. And then the fact that when everyone started chanting Kid Flash, and he just takes a bow and like takes it all in, it's like, I get it, you made your first arrest, but like, you're not being a superhero to get the attention. You're being a superhero so you could save people. I mean, like, Barry doesn't get chance as the Flash. Barry doesn't go on TV to make a statement of who he is. No, he tries to stay in the shadows, and if it just so happens he's there to save a few people, then he's there. He's not there to make a statement to any media professionals. It's just, I don't know. I just really don't like the way Wally handles it. And I don't know if that's just me or if I just prefer Barry a lot better. But yeah, that's my take on, that's my major peeve for the episode. Moving on though, what will I remember most when I look back on this episode? The fact that they try to contemplate what it means to change the future, and if they could change the future or if it was set in stone. I really liked how they focused on that one in this episode. Moving on though to random questions. First one. When Barry and Cisco see the future vibe, they saw HR on the roof with a gun aimed at Savitar. What are the odds of that actually being Earth 2 Wells? Because I really don't think HR can really hold a gun and shoot properly, while Earth 2 Wells, he's been seen shooting guns many times when they had to go against one of their enemies. So I'm wondering, also the hat, but then the hat usually goes with HR and not Earth 2 Dr. Wells. So I'm just wondering if there's any chance that it's Harry from Earth 2 as opposed to HR from Earth 19. Next question and last question. Will the Flash team constantly check the future through the vibes to see if the headlines change? Would that be too excessive, or would they check that from time to time to see if they're making any progress? So there's that. Moving on though to predictions. Now, based off the promo for 311, we see HR being called a fugitive, and we also see Cisco challenging the bounty hunter on for who's after HR to a combat of powers. Now, the bounty hunter I'm calling is actually the woman who appeared through the portal at the end of this episode, and she apparently looks to be having the same vibe powers as Cisco, which is explained in the synopsis, which reads, HR's past catches up with him when a bounty hunter with vibe powers named Gypsy arrives in Central City to bring him back to Earth 19 to stand trial for his crime. It turns out interdimensional travel is illegal on their Earth. HR surrenders, but when Barry and Cisco find out that HR's only hope would be to challenge Gypsy to a fight to the death, they intercede and Cisco offers to fight Gypsy instead. Yikes. So it seems like HR's in a bit of a bind there. But before we get into that, though, guys, during the winter hiatus, it was announced on January 8th 2017, that The Flash has been renewed for a season 4. So that is something to be proud of. We have more adventures ahead of us for that, though. But let's get right back into what I think is going to happen in this in the upcoming episodes. Well, based off the headlines, I have to think of the fact that Gorilla Grodd's going to return and attack the city somehow. How else is the city going to recover from such an attack? Otherwise, they're going to have to try to prevent that so they don't get that headline anymore. Also, Killer Frost breaking loose from Caitlyn's hold on her. Either they're going to see that happen or they're going to try to prevent that from happening, though. But I wouldn't mind seeing Killer Frost again. It'll be interesting to see if she will become still Caitlyn Frost or if she's going to be more of the Killer Frost we saw from Earth 2. Or if just to see how you go from Caitlyn Frost to turning into Killer Frost. So it'll be interesting to see that, though. And there's the timer. But also, the last little spoiler tidbit for later on in the season, turns out there's going to be a musical crossover episode with Supergirl. It's supposed to be the episodes airing March 20th and March 21st. And apparently they just announced that they cast Darren Criss as the musical Meister. And because of that, it's going to form a slight little Glee reunion since both Darren, Grant, and Melissa were all on Glee together, so that'll be fun. Also, the report said that there will be songs from Barry, Kara, Joe, Cisco, Professor Stein, and Malcolm Merlin. So because of the last two, it has me wondering if it's also going to be a Legends crossover as well. So that's the last news I have to report, guys. Find it on Google. I've blogged that article onto my Tumblr, so you can go check that there, though. But what do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as your own thoughts, theories, what you think is going to happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. I mentioned before about my Tumblr. If you want, check that out and follow me there. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, any news for castings and stuff like that, all found on my Tumblr, all in one spot for you, so you can go check it out and follow me there if you want to keep up to date with that. I try to be as up to date as I can for it, though. Sometimes I'm behind, but eventually I'll get back on track with it, like at the moment. So follow me there if you want. Also, my WordPress is connected to my Tumblr. I also attached this YouTube account, so you can follow me there. Check out any other of my profiles that I have. Everything's usually interconnected with each other, so you just check what I cover, and that'd be awesome. But you don't have to. I don't mind. And that's about it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wishing you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.